Hey guys, today we are building a cold frame, but not just any cold frame. I want this one to be big with removable panels and automatic vents. I would even classify it as ultimate. So since you're here, you most likely know what a cold frame is. For me, I'm building one so I can extend my vegetable growing season for about 2 weeks on each side. Cold frames produce heat and keep that heat in addition to increasing humidity, all good conditions for growing vegetables. So why build a cold frame instead of a greenhouse? Well, it's going to be similar to a greenhouse, but without the height or the depth for that matter. It's going to cover one long garden bed, about 25 feet in length. I don't have budget for a greenhouse, and a few of my neighbors have had greenhouses in the past, and when we get those big storms with high winds, they're pretty much leveled. So I already have the garden bed set up right here in this fenced off area. It's fenced off to keep the deer out, but mainly for the high winds. The cold frame can't go any higher than the fence height because it could get damaged by those winds. For the new setup, I want easy open access to the plants and the soil. I want vents that open automatically when it gets too hot inside. And for my first year, I'm considering planting tomatoes, peppers, corn, pumpkins, and squash. There will be some experimenting in this first year. So let's look at a quick drawing. Everything will be framed out in wood and wrapped in vapor barrier. There will be 3 front removable panels and 3 large hinged panels. This will allow me to tend to my plants and weed the garden without any restrictions of space. I also want 2 vents, one on each end, which will open automatically when it gets too warm inside. Alright guys, quick update of where things are at. Most of the frame is done using the 2x10s, and the back side here, this area across here, will not be removable. It'll just be vapor barrier or plastic for now, and same with the sides. The front will be removable panels built from these 2x3s, and they'll be removable. There'll be a front panel right here, and you can see how I've got these slots put in so that when the 2x4s, sorry, the 2x3s are in place, they'll just fit into there. And then they'll also have spots on the fronts for them to lock in, and then the top section here will be on hinges, and that'll be able to open and close. So yeah, that's pretty much where things are at. Alright guys, quick update on progress. Got all the frames pretty much done, just doing the panels right now. Got this one done, obviously no plastic on it yet, but basically these panels will just lift off, and the upper one will lift up on a hinge. Alright, another quick update. Got the front panels framed in and their latches put on. So basic latch just to screw through it. Then you can open it up. Same thing on the other side. And then remove the panel as I was showing you earlier. And here's a good wide angle shot of our progress so far. Okay, it's next day, about 10 hours later, and I have the frame installed. So basically what I've done is I got these removable front panels. Got this upper section here that's on a hinge, and I've also got this section here on the front, which is also on hinges. So that can be propped up while working with the front removed and then down and secured, sharing the rest of the time. This one here doesn't have any vent on the top, but this entire section opens and is secured, and then this far section right here operates like the first one, and where the front comes off. And here's a look at the hinged vents opening and closing, and like I said, this will be automatic. And here's how the frame looks before the wrap and after the wrap. Fantastic. So the cold frame is at a state where I can start planting my vegetables. I've got the panel off right here and this panel off, and then the hinge allows me to raise that roof right there, and then this one here is obviously raised all the way. And since it's evening time and it's starting to cool off, the automatic vents are starting to close, and that gives me a good opportunity, just the same, to get those vegetables in the ground and not have to worry about bumping my head, and gives me a lot of free space to work. I can stand up in here no problem and do my work, and yeah, very convenient, lots of open space, and I really like it. It's turned out pretty fantastic. So this is a quick update on how the vent is performing with a lot of wind. It hasn't broken off yet, but it might be a good idea to add in a couple of chains just to prevent it from going back too far. And inside there's a bit of turbulence from the wind, which is fine. No damage occurring, of course, on the inside, and nothing on the outside. It's blowing about 50 kilometers an hour, maybe gusting to 60, but no issues. So I've noticed I have cat footprints on my plastic, and that means there was a cat curious in what was going on. I don't want to come home from work or vacation and have a dead cat in my cold frame, so it might be a good idea to add some chicken wire across the top here to keep out such critters, and maybe keep out some birds as well, because you don't want to come home to dead animals in here. It's not going to be pretty for anybody. Alright, so here we are a couple weeks later for a quick update. Things are definitely taking off, and the crops at this stage love the heat. They're drinking a lot of water, of course, which is expected, so I'm giving them a good soaking every day. Everything is looking lush, and I'm very happy with how far things are along already this season. I got to get some misters in there, some irrigation in there, and some timers set up so that when it gets hot like this, which is unusual for this area, that things don't get out of control and I don't end up losing my crop. And here we are a few weeks and an awful lot of water later. It looks awesome. So here we are well into the season, and I've captured this pretty cool time lapse. The mechanism that controls the vent is a wax filled cylinder, and as the wax expands and contracts based on the air temperature inside the cold frame, they force a piston to open and close the vent. Links for these are in the description below. And when a storm does blow in, the temperature drops and the vents react immediately by shutting. I think these vents have to be my favorite feature of the cold frame. I have since installed some irrigation to help automate the watering of this cold frame. The plants have obviously taken over and everything is really lush. I think at this point though, I can say that things are out of control. I didn't expect it to be this healthy and to grow so much. There's no doubt that I've planted too many crops, so that's a lesson learned for next year. And just another week later, I've noticed that we have a lot of tomatoes. And yes, that was a pumpkin you saw there suspended in the tomatoes. And looking through a little bit farther, you can actually see some zucchinis here in the distance. But I did notice that my overpopulation has created a slight moisture issue where I've been finding some mold around the base of some of the plants. Again, another lesson learned. I've been eating a lot of the crops from the garden over the past month and it has been awesome. I'm going to be harvesting the rest of the crop today. The weather is about to change, so here are a few pics from that harvest. Hey guys, we are expecting our first winter storm of the season, and it's time to get this cold frame prepared for the high wind that we are expecting. So I'm going to be removing the wax cylinders for the season so they're not exposed to the minus 40 degree temperatures that we normally get, and I'm going to be screwing down all of the hinges so that if we get any big wind gusts that they don't and do damage to the cold frame, so I'll be able to protect it throughout the winter. And here we have a quick time lapse on how I removed those wax cylinders. And here's another quick time lapse of me preparing the cold frame for the winter. Winter is coming tomorrow. I would consider removing the panels for the winter months and putting them inside, but I don't have anywhere to store them. And it's the next day, if you couldn't tell. We had our first snowfall of the season. Alright guys, that wraps things up, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great growing season. The cold frame helped extend my season on each end. I got a few extra weeks on each side of that season. And in the way of lessons learned, I do have a few points. I would not have overcrowded it so much. I definitely put too much in the cold frame this year. And if I had my time back, I would have made it about a foot taller. I hope that you found this information helpful. If so, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more Acreage Life videos.